Okay, for today's topic, I'll be discussing the various aspects of question document examination as well as the study of handwriting to be discussed later. So now, unahin natin yung various aspect nga na pinag-uusapan natin. Wherein, i-discuss natin ano ba yung classes of question document as well as the classes of disputed document and the use of photography in question document examination. So, first, the examination of question document principally involves or covers the following. So, ang ating question document examination covers the following wherein first, the examination of handwriting. Isa to sa pinaka-majority or isa to sa pinakamalawak na aralin with regards to question document. Na kung saan, di ba, napasimulan natin nung una na discussion na yung pinag-aaralan natin, yung handwriting na isang tao. Yung characteristics na to, di ba, wherein usually, ito ay gamit na gamit kapag ina-examine natin yung signature ng isang tao. Hindi mo maaaral kung ito ba ay genuine signature or yung pinekeng signature kung hindi mo kayang mag-examine ng handwriting ng isang tao. So, pag-uusapan natin yan at pag-aaralan natin yan sa mga susunod na topic. Again, first, the question document examination covers the examination of handwriting. Sabi ko nga, which includes the signature and handprinting for purposes of determining their genuineness and kung sino yung source o sino yung author ng handwriting na ito. With regards to that, magagawa mo yung examination ng handwriting kapag alam mo na yung basics. Alam mo na kung ano ba yung dapat mong pag-focusan na characteristic or handwriting characteristic para ma-compare mo, para ma-analyze mo, and para ma-evaluate mo yung unknown signature or handwriting to known signature para malaman natin kung sila ba ay galing lang sa isang source o ito ba ay genuine signature ng isang tao or not. And then second, other miscellaneous aspect. So marami pang bagay na pinaggagamitan or pinaglalaanan ng question document examination wherein it includes the detection of alteration. So when we say alteration, di ba nabanggit na naman natin yan nung una, the process of or action of altering or the document as a whole is being altered or meron tayong pinaltan or some part of the document pinaltan natin. As well as the decipherment of the erased writings. Di ba? Meron tayong document na may buradong part or as a whole, burado or hindi na natin makilala or hindi na natin mabasa kung ano yung nilalaman nun. So, through question document examination, magagawa natin to or madedecipher natin o kahit man yan hindi erase writing, yung mga secret writings na hindi natin mabasa ng ating naked eye, kayang-kaya po yan through QD examination, especially through the use of other methods or instrument, diba, UV light, infrared light, and so on. And the other chemicals na makakatulong sa atin para ma-decipher yung mga erased writing and then the hidden writings or the secret writings na meron tayo. Next is the restoration of obliterated writings. Ano to? So, when we say obliterated, diba, yung mga nasira natin or there is something na na-remove, diba, or natanggal sa isang part ng isang document, so pwede natin siyang ma-restore, somewhat similar lang din so sa mga na-erase na part ng na document natin na kung saan nasira na to, hindi na natin alam. So, pwedeng ma-restore. And then, part yan ng ating QD examination para malaman natin kung ano ba yung kinadahilan ng pagkasira or ng pagkabura na nag-lead para masabi natin na genuine ba talaga to or intentional yung ginawang pagkasira ng document. Next is the determination of age of the document. Diba? Determination of age wherein ang document naman natin, naluluma yan at meron tayong mga bagong document na bagong gawa lang. So, kasama to sa ina-examine natin para malaman natin na ang document ba to is, sabi natin, alleged na ngayon lang to na-produce. Wherein, kung i-examine natin yung document, for example, the paper itself, di ba, yung production ng paper na yon or ng sample ng paper na yon during 90s pa. Paano mo nasabi na bago lang tong document na to, wherein yung ginamit mong papel ay luma na? Sa kabaliktaran, paano mo nasabi na luma na tong document na to, wherein upon examination nalaman natin na yung papel na ginamit mo ay nagkakaproduce lang or manufactured lang during the 20s, di ba? 2010 and above. Paano mo nasabi na old document yan? So, through the question document examination, inaalam din natin kung ano ba yung age ng document, as well as the identification of stamps. Inaalam natin kung sino yung genuine or alin yung genuine at ano yung naging source o alin yung source ng mga stamps na yon, yung mga inks na ginamit, and especially the medium na ginamit as a stamp dun sa mga documents, the seal itself, and other authenticating devices. At included din dito yung currency bills, yung pera natin, mapapapel yan or coins. Kasama po yan sa pag-aaralan natin sa question document examination sa mga susunod pang topic. So for now, mamaya pasisimulan natin yung examination of handwriting kasi pag-uusapan nga natin or kasali sa topic natin for today yung the study of handwriting ng tao, the common characteristic and the individual characteristic na pagbabasehan natin for the analysis, for the comparison and evaluation kung ang isa bang handwriting, to be specific, ay signature, ay genuine or not, or galing ba sa isang tao or dun sa original na author nito. Okay, next is the classes of questioned documents. So we have 7. First, documents with questioned signatures. Pinag-uusapan natin ano ba yung classes ng mga document that is being questioned or yung usual na document na nakwa-question or nare-raise yung kanyang authenticity, yung source, and etc. Ang kaunahan na nga dito, sabi ko kanina, documents with questioned signatures, wherein those documents na yung signature being questioned as to who is the author or the writer or the owner of this signature. So, yun lang naman yun. Pangalawa, documents containing alleged fraudulent alteration. So, nabanggit na rin natin kanina, yung documents that containing alleged. So, kiniklaim natin or kiniklaim ng ibang partido na yung documents na to ay may fraudulent alteration. So, merong intentional alteration or deception by insertion, o merong altering of some words, and so on, without the consent of the other party or the owner of the writing. Kaya natin nasabi na ito is a fraudulent alteration, meron kang binago na hindi alam ng original owner, ng original author. So, meaning to say, dinideceive mo kung saan mo man gustong gamitin tong document na to. So, meron tayong fraudulent alteration or changes na ginagawa sa document, again, without the consent of the owner of the writer. Again, alleged. When we say alleged, hindi pa naman confirmed. Kaya nga natin nasabi na kina-question natin yung document na to kasi there is an alleged fraudulent alteration daw. O meron daw na pagbabago or nangyaring changes sa document. Pangatlo, holograph document. Such as document na tinatawag nating wills or deed, na kung saan meron tayong dalawang klase, yung holographic will and then the notarial will. So mamaya madidiscuss natin to. At first, the holograph document is entirely the handwriting of a person whose signatures bear it. Kung saan yung isang document entirely ginawa ng isang tao through his handwriting whose signatures bears it. So, merong signature, gawa niya through his handwriting. So, all in all, ang document na to ay gawa mismo ng author. At merong signature ng mismong author. Di ba nga, yung mga wills, di ba? Yung mga deed, last will natin na tinatawag, ito po ay included or yung pinapatungkulan natin na holograph document. So, we have, again, two types of holograph document. First is the holographic will. So, entirely written in the handwriting of the testator. Yung holographic will, entirely written yan ng mismong author at may signature ng mismong author. That is holographic will. And then the notarial will, When we say notarial, notary, so meaning to say, notarial will is signed by the testator and acknowledged by the notary public. So, ibig sabihin yung mga documents na ginawa mismo ng author and signed by him, but merong acknowledgement or pinanotaryo niya. So, ibig sabihin merong notary public na intervention. So, ang kinaibahan lang niya, sa holographic will, entirely handwritten or handwriting ng author and with his signature, while sa notarial, merong intervention with the notary public. So, pinanotaryo natin. But, gawa ni testator, pinirmahan ni testator, ang kinaibahan lang niya, in-acknowledge ng notary public or may intervention with the notary public. Next is documents questioned as to their age or date. Ito nga yung binabanggit natin kanina na question document or one of the classes of the question document are yung mga question document natin na ang kina-question natin is yung age nila or yung date of production, di ba? Ano yung natin dito pinag-uusapan? How old the document is? Gaano ba to kabago? Bago ba to kaluma? Diba? At ang usually pinagbabasehan natin dito is the material use, diba? Aside from the specific date na nakalagay dun sa document. Diba? Karaniwan naman pag iyan ay mga documents, mayroon diyang included na date sa taas. Pero kadalasan, diba, na-edit lang naman yun, na-insertan lang or napapalitan talaga yung date. Pero ang pinaka-main focus natin kapag ina-examine natin yung document, para malaman yung age nito or yung date is yung the material use in the production of the document or yung date of the manufacturing nung for example ng ink na ginamit, ina-examine natin yan. Ganun din yung papers, inaalam natin kung ito bang papel na to ay kailan siya na manufacture. Luma ba to or bago, and so on. So, ganun po yung pag-aaral natin sa question document. At iyon po yung isa again sa classes ng question document. Pinag-aaralan or kino-question natin kung gaano kaluma or gaano kabago yung isang document. Panglima, documents involving typewriting and are investigated or examined for the purposes of determining their source and date, whether or not it contains fraudulent alterations or substituted pages. So, somewhat similar to the document question as to their age or date kasi ang product ng ating typewriting, di ba? The material used sa ating typewriting rather, is, di ba, ink din, the ribbon, the paper, and the typewriter itself. Kasi malalaman natin yan kung anong klaseng typewriter yung ginamit kasi iba-iba pa yan ng font. So again, isa sa classes ng question document is yung mga product of typewriting natin. Diba? Malalaman din natin kung sino ba yung new na document na ginamit na product ng isang typewriting o sino ba yung old. Based sa typewriter itself, based sa paper na ginamit at based dun sa font style nung typewriter. So, di ba, pag luma yan, automatic, may discoloration sa paper, di ba? Perhaps, or kung iyan ay bago, but because of some foreign materials na nilagay, ay nagbago, kaya nagbukang luma. So, maraming consideration dito kapag pinag-aaralan natin to. Same with the fraudulent alteration, di ba? Nabanggit dyan na it contains a fraudulent alteration or pinalitan yung pages. For example, meron tayong document which contains 10 pages. So, some part of it o yung ilang pages doon, pinalitan mo, di ba? Meron kang pinalitan doon na nilalaman para mabago yung kabuuan or yung ibig sabihin nung document na yun as a whole. So, nag-insert ka ng ibang klase ng papel, ibang klase ng typewriter ang ginamit mo, ibang klase ng font style, and then the ink na ginamit, malalaman mo kung ano yung luma or ano yung pagbabago na nangyari. So again, included yan. Type of question document ay yung document that is a product of typewriter. Okay, next is documents which may identify a person through his handwriting. So, document which can tell, di ba, or identify someone based on his handwriting. For example, we have anonymous letters and other disputed letters and other miscellaneous writings na unknown. Hindi natin alam kung sino si writer. So, yun po is a class of question document or a type of question document na ina-examine natin para malaman natin kung sino ba si writer or si author ng writings na to. Kasi nga, unknown. For example, di ba, mababaw na example. May suitor ka, merong kang letters na hindi mo alam kung sino ba yung author nito o kanino nang gagaling yung secret na letters mo, di ba? Yung suitor mo, kung sino nandiligaw sa'yo. So, dahil sa handwriting lang niya, yung basehan mo, pwede mo itong pag-aralan to identify who is the person na nagsulat nito. So, sa malawak na salin, in relation to our field, di ba? Merong nagbigay ng letter na nagre-request for ransom, may kinidnap na tao. So, pwedeng maging evidence yon or pwede yung maging subject for examination para malaman natin kung sino yung writer. At kapag nalaman natin kung sino yung writer ng letter na yon, malalaman natin kung sino yung nagkidnap dun sa tao. So, and so on. Marami pang use yan to identify who is the author of the handwriting. Last is the genuine documents erroneously and fraudulently attacked or disputed. So those question document na intentionally or maliciously ginawa ng alteration and other forms of fraudulent act. So nabanggit na natin yan kanina pa ulit-ulit. But with regards to this, isang type ng question document wherein ito ay genuine document na maliciously and intentionally ginawa ng alteration, ginawa ng obliteration, and so on, in-erase yung some portion, and so on. So that is one kind of question document. Next, classes of disputed documents. Sabi nga natin, not all question documents are disputed, but all disputed document is considered as question document. So first, ano ba yung isang klase ng disputed document? Forged signature where no attempt has been made to make a copy or facsimile of the genuine signature of the person purporting to have signed the document. This is commonly referred to as simple forgery. Na kung saan pinepeke mo, di ba? You are faking someone's signature and then gumagawa ka ng kababalaghan, in short. Ginagaya mo yung pirma ng iba. Na kung saan you have no attempt there has been no attempt to make an exact copy of the signature na kinokopya mo. You are just trying to forge someone's signature through the simple forgery na nakalagay nga dyan na hindi mo focus na gayahin exactly kung anong itsura ng signature ng ginagaya mo. Ang ginagaya mo lang is a way of copying or imitating his or her signature based on your own handwriting. So, ina-execute mo yung signature niya without exactly imitating or ginagaya yung strokes, yung itsura mismo nung signature or yung handwriting niya. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya is simple forgery. Yung one good example dito is yung pabasta ka na ng pirma. Basta ito yung pirma niya, bahala na kung kamukha niya or hindi. Tulad na lang yung sa mga attendance nyo, di ba? Pag nagpapa-attendance si teacher, si ma'am. So, naalala mo yung itsura niya, so gayahin mo lang sa isip mo and then isulat mo. Without imitating exactly, di ba? Letter per letter, ginagaya mo yung exact itsura niya and so on. So, hindi na simple forgery ang tawag doon, kundi simulated na. Again, kapag simple forgery, di ba, yung any person with intent to defraud the signature by using another signature or the name of another person without knowing or without him knowing na ginagamit mo yung kanyang signature. Knowing that he has no authority to do so. Yung kumokopya ng signature ng isang tao. Pangalawa, forged signature which closely resembles the genuine signature since they have been produced by tracing process referred to as trace forgery. So, one kind of disputed document na ang pinag-uusapan pa rin natin is yung signature. Pinorge mo yung signature via tracing. Alam niyo naman kung paano mag-trace, di ba? Na kung saan which closely resembles. Kung yung una, okay lang kahit hindi gano'ng kamukha. Basta yun mismo, ganun din yung pirma niya. Gagayahin ko yung pirma niya pero hindi ko gagayahin exactly. Pero etong pangalawa, kahit pa paano, it closely resembles kung ano itsura or look like or seem like the signature of the author na ginagaya mo or yung signature na ginagaya mo. So, through tracing process. Diba? Ano ba yung tracing process? Diba? Actually, ang ginagawa mo, diba, you following the outline of the genuine signature with writing instrument. So, binabakat mo, in short, kung ano yung signature ng taong yon. So, forgery by tracing or traced forgery, yung isang klase ng ating disputed document. So, yung una natin, yung simple forgery, and then pangalawa, yung trace forgery ng signature or ng document or ng handwriting ng isang tao. Pangatlo, forged signature which resembles the genuine signature written freehand, commonly known as the copied or simulated forgery. So, ano yung meron dito? Ang focus pa rin natin is the signature. Dito, di ba yung una, closely resembles, ito naman, which actually resembles the genuine one or the genuine signature ng author. Written freehand, commonly known as the copied or simulated forgery, wherein it is especially done by a good writer, a professional writer, di ba? Na nag-exhibit ng fluency and smoothness dun sa strokes na ginagaya niya or dun sa signatures na ginagaya niya, wherein the motion of the pen is slow and careful. So, ito yung kabaliktaran ng simple forgery. Kung saan bahala na, basta ito yung itsura niya, gagayahin ko na lang basta yung dapat may K, dapat may G, dapat may A, hanggang dulo, kung ano man yung merong letters dun sa signature niya. Dito, slowly ginagawa mo. Carefully ginagawa mo kasi gusto mong maging kamukha talaga. Magaya mo exactly kung ano yung signature ng author. And that is simulated or copied forgery. So, ginagaya mo, dahan-dahan mo siyang kinokopya para maging exactly katulad nung kinokopya mo or yung dinadaya mo or yung pino-forge mo na signature. That is simulated forgery. Pang-apat is forge a signature of a fictitious person. Diba? A fictitious person wherein ito po is hindi totoo. Fabricated or gawa-gawa lang. So, karaniwan to dun sa paggagawa ng mga fake accounts ng mga politician natin, diba? Gagawa ng mga fake accounts. So, ibig sabihin, hindi existing yung taong yon. Gumawa ka lang ng fake accounts para dun mo ilagay yung perang nakulimbat mo, kung kanino man. Sa gobyerno, sa pera, or sa kaba ng bayan. So, yun yung nangyayari. Inaaral mo, di ba, yung signature ng unknown person na alleged na fictitious. Hindi mo alam kung existing ba or not. Usually nga, dun siya nangyayari. Sa mga bank account, nag-withdraw to, and so on, may pirma nito na hindi natin alam kung existing ba talaga yung taong yun. And then, panglima, a genuine signature that the writers is unwillingly to accept as genuine. So, nangyayari naman to. Alleged genuine signature wherein yung the writer or the author is unwillingly to accept as the genuine one. Na kung saan, for example, pirmado mo yung kasunduan nyo, na kung saan ikaw yung masasabit. Kasunduan nyo na ikaw yung sabit sa huli. Ngayon, tinatanggi mo na iyan ay signature mo. Tinatanggi mo na iyan ay sulat mo. So, yan ay kasama sa disputed document na inaalam natin kung totoo ba yung sinasabi mo. Wherein, genuine signature mo yan. Ikaw daw yung pumirma dyan, but now, bakit mo tinatanggi? Hindi mo sinasabing genuine yan or sinabi mo na, kiniklaim mo na yan ay ginawa lang ng iba para masabi na ikaw ay pumirma. And so on. So, marami pang conditions, marami pang situation na nangyayari ang ganyang bagay. Pang-anim, genuine signature obtained by trickery When we say trickery, the practice of deception, yung mga nabubutol ka, nadadaya ka, and other forms of trickery na kung saan napapirma ka, napasulat ka ng gantong bagay na hindi mo namamalayan na nadadaya ka na pala. Lastly, genuine signature, deliberately written, illegibly, or in unusual manner to avoid identification. Ito naman yung intentionally genuine signature ng isang author, at ang ginagawa niya, sinusulat niya in unusual manner or uncommon or unfamiliar or in abnormal way. Dinadaya niya yung sarili niyang pirma para hindi siya makilala dun sa kanyang pirma. Usually, dito yan lalabas. Ikaw ay gusto mong mandaya, or kaya naman yung example natin kanina, balikan natin. Gusto mong hindi makita ng crush mo na ikaw yung nagsulat ng letter na yon. So, iibahin mo yung sulat mo, yung manner of writings mo, para hindi niya malaman na ikaw yung writer nun. So, yun po yung isa sa klase ng disputed document. A genuine signature or a genuine handwriting na iniiba mo para hindi ka makilala or ma-identify. Okay, next. Ano ba yung use or yung purpose ni photography sa question document? The photography and question document. Kasi nga nabanggit ko kanina, di ba? Nabanggit ko sa infrared light, na patungkol sa infrared photography, UV light, na pwede natin magamit for UV photography, and so on. So, first, photograph serve as a record of the initial condition of the questioned document. Diba? Like the crime scene lang yan. Yan, nagamit mo si photography to record the initial condition ng crime scene. Same lang din yan sa by document, wherein, itatake mo yung document ng photograph or the original condition from the very first time na siya is na-recover mo. So, siya ay pipicturean mo, nang sa ganun may record ka na ng kung ano man yung initial condition niya, kung ano yung itsura niya at first nang siya ay nakuha mo. Syempre, di ba, lilipas ang panahon, gagamitin mo yan. Examine mo yan, and so on. Possible na masira, possible na mabura yung ibang part kapag hindi naalagaan ng maayos. So, with the help of photography or by taking a photograph ng document, magkakaroon ka ng record, magkakaroon ka ng backup kung ano yung initial condition o ano yung initial na itsura ng question document. Pangalawa, photograph makes clear what otherwise may be hidden or indistinct. Ito nga yung binabanggit natin kanina, through the use of infrared, the UV photography, na kung saan capable of detecting secret writings, diba? Obliterated writings, altered, through the use of some chemicals or materials. So, nagagamit po ito para makita natin yung hidden or indistinct na hindi makikita ng naked eye ng tao. Kahit na-examine mo pa yan gamit ang microscope, hindi mo siya makikita kasi meron tayong mga documents na merong secret writings na ginamitan mo ng ibang chemicals or ibang method para lang maitago mo yung secret writings nga tinutukoy natin or yung mga erased writings na naburado na hindi makikita ng mata. For example, the infrared light, di ba? Pwede mong mabasa, pwede mo pa rin makita yung mga erased writings, especially yung mga nasunog na medyo dumilim na or nabura na yung sulat niya. Magagamit si infrared photography para mabasa ito. Diba, sabi nga natin doon sa photography class natin, the infrared light, nape-penetrate niya yung dust, nape-penetrate niya yung haze, kaya mas malaki yung sakop ng kanyang nakukuhanan, na hindi kita ng mata natin. Kasi yung kita lang ng mata natin is yung visible light sa paligid natin. Kumbaga normal lang na scenery or vision yung nakikita natin. While through the use of UV and especially the infrared, mas kaya nilang makita yung beneath the surface. Especially yung mga secret writings na meron ka pang makikita sa ilalim niya. So, magagamit mo si photography, and to be specific, the UV photography and the infrared photography. So, pangatlo, a writing in question can be accurately enlarged. Diba? Napakalaking tulong ni photography for the enlargement of the document itself. So that every quality, and characteristic of it can be clearly and properly seen and interpreted. So, makikita natin ng maayos yung characteristic ng handwriting and other points to prove the genuineness or if it is done by or with forgery. Di ba? Alam naman natin yung enlarge, napapalaki natin. So, picturean si document and then i-print mo na naka-enlarge siya. For example, sa buong document, yung signature lang naman yung kailangan mong aralin. So, i-enlarge mo yung portion na yun and then i-print mo, saka mo i-examine. So, yun po yung use ni photography sa question document. Pang-apat, any number of accurate reproduction of the documents could be made through photographs. Diba? Dahil nga kayang mag-print, so kaya nating magkaroon ng maraming copies. Diba? Accurate reproduction of the document. So we can afford an unlimited copy and opportunity for the study, for the comparison and evaluation by a numerous examiner that would not be easily possible with the document to be examined alone. Diba? Hindi siya posible na mangyari na kung saan isang document lang yung aaralin mo, tas maraming question document examiner. Mahirap mangyari yon kasi mag-aagaw-agawan kayo. Pero na lang kung magkakaroon kayo ng schedule, eto ka ngayong araw na to, examine mo to, and to. So, masyadong matagal pag ganun yung process natin. And with the help of photography, kaya mo nga magkaroon ng unlimited copy or reproduction ng copy ng document and then ipamigay mo dun sa mga examiners para sabay-sabay nating mapag-aralan. So, yan po yung pang-apat. Pang-lima, photographs can be cut apart as may be desirable. Kasi diba, some various part classified for comparison, yung mahalagang parte ng document na kailangan mo for comparison, hindi mo naman yan makakat. Diba? During the question document process. Kasi masisira ito at magbabago yung initial condition nito as well as maiiba yung posibleng maging ibig sabihin ng document as a whole. Diba? Mababago yung condition, mababago yung initial na itsura ng document. Masisira at masisira kasi bawal mong putulan. Tulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, ang kailangan mo lang na portion na aralin is yung signature niya, kung signature ba yun ng author. So, ibig sabihin ba nun, dahil yun lang gugupitin ko to. So, no, hindi kaya or hindi pwedeng gupitin, sirain, ma-alter or ma-mutilate, to be specific, ma-mutilate yung evidence mo, which is the document, para lang mag-examine ka. So, you have this photography, i-take mo yung photograph ng document, saka mo i-print, and then saka mo enlarge, saka mo gupitin kung gusto mong gupitin. Okay, next. Photographs are also useful in showing delicate discoloration due to chemical erasures or fraudulent changes. So, malaking tulong si photograph para makita natin kung may changes bang nangyari. So, you have the initial photo para makita yung initial condition niya. Upon the recovery ng document na to, makikita natin kung may pagbabago ba. Or otherwise, diba, be overlooked, denied, or misinterpreted na nangyayari din naman talaga. Minsan sa kapabayaan pa, or minsan meron na talaga yung document ng discoloration, hindi lang natin na-notice at first or na-overlook natin at first. So, through the use of photograph, dahil nakuhanan mo nga yung initial condition niya, pwede mong ma-double check kung ano ba yung itsura niya talaga. Ito bang discoloration na to is nangyari na lang dahil nasa custody na natin yung document o nung simula pa lang is meron na nitong discoloration and so on. So, minsan kasi nangyayari yan kapag, lalo na kapag ikaw ay gagamit ng chemicals para mapalabas mo yung writing ng tao, kapag may erasures na nangyari, gagamit ka kasi ng chemicals dyan at possible na maapektuhan yung papers or yung document mo. So, kung meron ka ng initial picture or photograph nito, pwede mo siyang ma-compare kung meron bang changes talaga nangyari or dahil na lang to sa examination na nangyayari or ginagawa ko. Naapektuhan na lang yung paper, yung condition ng paper, and so on. 7. Erasures by abrasion made by an ordinary rubber eraser can sometimes be shown very clearly and recorded in permanent form by a photograph. So, yung mga erasures na meron dun sa document, makaka-capture yan ng photograph. 'di ba? By obliquely, 'di ba? Pine-place mo yung document, 'di ba? You placed obliquely the plane on the lenses ng camera as to show differences in the reflected light from different portions of the paper surface. So through the use of the camera, I mean, sinutok mo kay camera lens and then you place it obliquely, so nakaslant sa camera lens natin, and then saka mo iti-take yung picture, makikita mo doon yung portion na kung saan merong erasure or abrasion na nangyari sa paper. So makikita mo if there is any erasure na nangyari made by an ordinary rubber eraser. So makakapture yun ng ating camera. And then lastly, transmitted light photography is useful in the examination. So what is transmitted light? Yung light, I mean the object, 'di ba ang paper naman natin is nagtatransmit dyan yung light kapag tinamaan mo. Wherein hindi siya tumatalbog, 'di ba? Hindi siya nagre-reflect, hindi siya nag-absorb. So some light is nag-aalaw to transmit or tumagos sa papel. Alam naman natin yan, pag tinutukan natin ng light yung papel, meron at merong tatagos sa kabilang side, or maybe part of the light is visible sa ilalim ng paper. So malaking tulong yung transmitted light photography para ma-examine natin yung mga watermarks, di ba? Yung watermarks, di ba, hindi siya ganun ka-visible agad-agad. Pero makikita naman yan through the use of transmitted light photography. And then, such as the fibers ng papers, ma-examine natin yan through the use of transmitted light photography. Or if there is any retouching or patching na nangyari sa document or dun sa letters, and if there is any added ink, makikita natin yan through the transmitted light photography. Kasi nga, syempre, tutok yan ng light. So, through the use of transmitted light, na-check natin kung meron bang kakaiba dun sa document. If there is any distribution of ink in interrupted stroke, kitang-kita mo na merong retouching, ni-retouch to, merong patching, or merong ink na ilagay na bago dun sa ink na to, ibang klase ng ink. So again, basically, photography on paper translucent, which is translucent, with a backlight that goes through the subject. So tututukan mo ng light or using transmitted light with a plain white background at nakikita mo kung ano yung actual look ng ating document. Sabi ko nga kanina, if there is any something na kakaiba sa paper with regards to ink, with regards to the distribution of stroke, kung meron mang interrupted stroke, di ba kakaiba yung baling nito, kakaiba yung ink nito, kakaiba yung paper dito sa portion na to, parang mas numipes, so ibig sabihin merong bura or something, or may chemical na ginamit doon, and so on. So again, through the use of transmitted light photography. Okay, next, the study of handwriting. But before that, discuss muna natin yung some of the basic terms na magagamit natin or mababanggit natin dito. First is writing, the result of very complicated series of acts being as a whole combination of certain forms which are very visible result of mental and muscular habits acquired by long, continued, painstaking effort. So, ang writing natin is the act or the process itself of one who writes. It is the activity or skill of a person or of an individual composing or forming a visible letters, di ba? Characters, text, characteristics, or yung words na sinusulat niya. The process or the act of composing or forming again a visible text or letters. While the handwriting, it is a visible effect of bodily movements which is almost unconscious expression of certain ideas associated with script form. So si handwriting is the product, the text that has been written by hand. Di ba, wherein dyan may makikita yung ating mga characteristics in handwriting. Next is the system of writing, the combination of the basic design of letters and writing movements as taught in the school. So, system of writing, it is an organized, regular method of information that is by visually encoding or writing with the set of signs or symbols. So, meron na tayong system of writing. So, all we have to do is aralin natin to at isulat. Di ba ha, bata pa tayo, meron tayong combination of basic design. Di ba? Ano ba yung itsura ni A? Ano ba yung itsura ni B? Paano ba siya sinusulat and so on. So, that is the system of writing na tinuturo sa school. Ito si A, si Big A, si Big B, and si small letter A, small letter B, and so on. That is the system of writing. Again, the combination of basic design of letters. The alphabets, the symbols, 1 to 7, 1 to 100, and so on. And writing movements, kung paano natin siya execute na tinuturo sa school. Next is the natural writing. Is any specimen or writing executed normally without any attempt to control or alters its identifying habits and its usual quality of execution. So, ang ating natural writing, dyan natin makikita yung ating individual characteristic. Diba? Sabi natin dyan, ito yung ine-execute normally ng isang tao without any attempt makontrol yung kanyang sariling sulat, 'di ba? Na hindi mo mababago, hindi mo maitatanggi kung ano yung klaseng handwriting na meron ka. Wherein doon natin ma-identify yung habits mo or yung individual characteristics mo na meron ka sa sarili mong handwriting, or the quality or the identity of your own writing, 'di ba? It applies to something that distinguishes or identifies you as a person based on your handwriting. 'Di ba? Sabi natin kanina, ma-identify natin kung sino yung writer or sino yung author ng isang writing kung maaaral natin kung ano yung kanyang handwriting characteristics. And through that, yun ay a product of your natural writing habits na tinatawag natin. Next, disguise writing. Di ba alam naman natin pag disguise? So, dinadaya mo or deliberately, ina-alter mo yung usual writing habits mo. Okay, sabi nga dyan, di ba? Deliberately tries to alter. Iniiba mo yung usual writing habits mo para ma-hide mo yung identity mo. Dinidisguise mo yung writing mo tulad ng nabanggit natin kanina. Para hindi malaman na ikaw yung author nung sulat na yon or nung signature na yon. Next is the writing habit. Is any repeated element or detail that may serve to individualize writing. When we say habit, yun yung kadalasang ginagawa mo. Ano ba yung writing habit mo? Kadalasan ba, ikaw ba ay capital letters lahat magsulat? Kasi kung ako yon, kadalasan, capital letters talaga yung ginagamit ko sa lahat ng sulat ko. For example, kapag sinulat ko yung I, binibilog ko ba exactly yung tuldok niya sa taas o wala akong nilalagay na tuldok sa taas and so on. Ano ba yung writing habit ng isang tao? Yung repeated element or yung kadalasan niya o yung usual na niyang ginagawa na magiging basehan natin as his individual characteristic sa kanyang writing. Next, significant writing habit is a term applied to any characteristic of handwriting which is sufficiently unique and well fixed to serve as a fundamental point in the identification of writers. So we are specific here that there are those significant na writing habit o yung kadalasan na usual na ginagawa ng tao na paulit-ulit na magiging basis natin as the fundamental point para ma-identify natin kung sino yung writer o yung kanyang unique handwriting o yung unique way niya kung paano isulat si A. Yung unique way niya kung paano isulat si B. 'Di ba? Yung unique way niya kung paano lagyan ng tuldok si I and so on. So yun po yung tinatawag nating significant writing habit na magagamit natin for the identification kung sino yung writer. 'Di ba? Ma-identify kung sino yung author. At yun nga yung tinatawag natin na pasok sa individual handwriting characteristic. Kasi kung habit mo na yan, 'di ba? Iba yung execution mo sa execution ng iba. So, sa'yo lang yan. Unique mo lang yan. Unique characteristic of handwriting mo lang yan at hindi yan possess ng ibang tao. And then, characteristic na tinutukoy natin is any property or mark which distinguishes and in question document examination, and it is also commonly refers to detail. So, yung characteristic mo, ano ba yung quality, ano ba yung itsura as a whole, o ano ba yung details mo on how you write those specific letters. Ano ba yung characteristic mo? Paano mo execute yung specific letters or words na nagdi-distinguish, 'di ba? Kung ano yung handwriting mo. We have common and class. When we say common, characteristic mo ng handwriting na kung saan common sa isang group. So, ginagaya mo yung A, ganito yung itsura ng A kasi yan talaga yung characteristic ng A. But you have your own characteristic kung paano mo i-execute si A. At yun nga yung tinatawag natin individual characteristic. So, yun ay madidiscuss natin. Next, we have two kinds of characteristic. First is the class or common characteristic. Diba? Are identifying details which are common to a group. Those which conform to the general style acquired when learning to write and became fashionable at a particular time and place due to continuous writing and practice. So when we say copybook form, di ba, yan yung mga book that is used in education that contains example of letters and handwriting or pattern na kung saan, di ba, may blank space sa baba for learners to imitate. Lahat naman tayo siguro naranasan yan. Kahit nga dun lang sa blackboard, di ba? Sinulat ni ma'am kung ano itsura ng A, B, C, D, ginagaya natin. At that is one kind of common characteristic na tinuturo sa atin na ito yung itsura ni A, ito yung itsura ni B, ito yung itsura ni C. So, ginagaya natin. Ito yung model, ano ba yung itsura ng letters na to? Ito yung model kung ano yung itsura ng numbers na to. So, common to a group kasi hindi naman natin pwedeng ibahin kung ano yung itsura ng letters na yan kasi yan talaga yung tinuturo o yung standard o yung common sa ating lahat. Ano yung itsura ni A? Ano yung itsura ni B? Diba? For example, alam natin yung itsura ng A to Z sa ating bansa. Pero sa ibang bansa, iba na yung itsura niyan or iba yan na yung execution ng letters na yan. And that is common to their group. Iba na yung itsura. Common characteristic yun sa kanila. And then sa atin, kung ano yung itsura ng letters natin dito, common characteristics natin yun. Or common characteristics ng letters or ng numbers and then other text or symbols dito sa atin yun. And that is class or common characteristic. While individual characteristics, it is highly personal and peculiar and unlikely to occur in other instances. Those introduced into handwriting consciously or unconsciously by the writer. They are highly peculiar to occur in other instances in another person's handwriting and which serves to distinguish one's handwriting. So, ito ang individual characteristic natin. Ito yung ginagamit natin para ma-distinguish or to identify kung kanino bang writing na to. Kasi, kaya nga individual, your unique characteristic. Merong kanya-kanyang unique characteristic or kanya-kanyang writing habit ang tao. At yung produkto nun, individual characteristic. Diba? Individual handwriting. Ang bawat tao, merong kanya-kanyang individual handwriting. Diba? Those characteristics that are meant for a single person only. Kaya nasasabi natin na iba. Diba? The way we write, diba, is an individual thing. Hindi naman tayo lahat same process or same way ng pagsusulat, diba? Same as we dun kung paano tayo maghawak ng ballpen, paano tayo maghawak ng lapis, and then ng writing instrument, magkakaiba tayo. As a result, magkakaiba yung magiging itsura nung letters na sinusulat natin. That is why no one ever writes alike. Even the same writer, diba? Even the same person cannot repeat exactly what he writes. Diba? But the presence of individual characteristic is still there. Kahit sabihin natin na no person or even the same person cannot exactly write kung ano yung sinulat niya, kung gaano kalaki si R, hindi naman niya mauulit kung gaano kalaki or gaano yung itsura niya. Kung ganun yung mangyayari, one good indication niya na yan ay tinrace lang ng tao. For example, may sample signature dito, exactly kung gaano katangkad, kung gaano kalapad, gaano kaliit si I, and so on. Tulad tugmang-tugma, ibig sabihin tinrace yan. Kasi kung ako yung writer, diba, kung mapapansin nyo, kahit ikaw na mismo yung nagsulat or naggawa ng signature mo, hindi mo mauulit exactly kung ano yung signature na ginawa mo. But still, yung individual characteristic mo, kung paano mo siya in-execute, kung paano mo sinulat si signature mo ay nandun pa din. So that is the individual characteristic. So we have 3 steps. Three different steps in the development of a person's handwriting. Paano ba natututo yung tao para makasulat siya? O paano siya matutong magsulat? Step number 1, penmanship copybook form or blackboard illustration of the different letters is placed before him. His first step is one of imitation only or a process of drawing. Painstaking, laborious, and slow copying of letter forms and the form of each letter at first occupy the focus of his attention. So sa step number 1, balikan natin ang ating pagkabata, na-develop yung process o yung kaalaman natin kung paano tayo magsusulat dahil dun sa copybook form or yung blackboard illustration na tinatawag natin kanina na meron tayong kinokopya na letters. So at first, hindi talaga natin alam kung paano ba si letter A, paano ba si letter B. So ang focus natin or yung process natin kung paano na tayo natututo is ginagaya lang natin as a process of drawing. Dinodraw natin yung letters. Hindi natin siya totally nira-write kasi hindi natin alam kung ano pa yung, hindi pa nagpa-process sa utak natin na ito si A. So habang natututo tayo, di ba, dinodraw lang natin ang dinodrawing si letter A, and that is step number 1. Ang focus natin, paano i-execute, ano ba yung itsura ni A, may mahabang dalawang tungkod and then meron sa gitnang nakahiga. Di ba, ganon? Sa letter B, may isang mahaba and then may dalawang, di ba, buntis, yung sinasabi natin dati. Yun yung tinatandaan natin nung bata tayo. Ini-imitate lang natin yung itsura nung nakikita natin sa book and sa blackboard. As a process of drawing, at ang focus natin mismo is yung ginagaya natin. Mas nakafocus tayo dun sa itsura niya at hindi pa natin ma-execute ng maayos kung paano natin gagawin. Kasi ang focus natin, ma-picture out natin sa utak natin kung ano yung itsura niya. That is step number 1. While the step number 2, di ba, as the person, step number 2, as the person progresses, the matter of forms recedes. And the focus of attention now is centered on on the execution of various letters. That is, they are actually writing instead of drawing. Diba sa simula, yung focus of attention nila, nakatitig sila kung ano yung itsura nung A. Nakatitig sila kung ano yung itsura nung B. So, dun yung focus nila, tinatandaan nila, dinodrawing nila sa utak nila habang sinusulat kung ano yung itsura nung A, anong sulat ng B. While sa step number 2, familiar ka na kahit pa paano sa itsura niya, di ba? Yung familiarization mo, medyo okay na. Ngayon, ang focus mo na kung paano i-execute yung naaalala mong letters. So now, you are actually writing instead of drawing. Kasi sa una, nag-drawing ka kasi may ginagaya ka. So now, alam mo na yung formation, yung letter formation nito, ine-execute mo na at ginagaya, sinusulat mo na. Now, sa step number 2, you are actually drawing. You are actually writing instead of drawing kasi alam mo na sa utak mo na yung si A ganito. Susulat ko nga. So, that is step number 2. And then, the step number 3, na I assume lahat tayo is nandito na, di ba? The manual operation in the execution of letters after more progress is likewise soon relegated to the subjective mind, and the process of writing becomes more and less automatic. Diba? Writing becomes unconscious, coordinated movement that produces a record. Attention is no longer given to the process of writing itself because the subject matter to be written now occupies the focus of attention. Nung una, sobrang focus ka kung ano yung itsura niya. Pangalawa, sobrang focus ka kung paano mo siya isusulat. Ngayon, ang focus mo, ano ba yung kailangan mo isulat? Di ba usually, ginagawa pa natin dito, habang nakatingin tayo or binasa natin yung isusulat natin, i-rewrite natin, hindi na tayo nakatingin sa papel natin. Kasi alam mo na kung paano isulat, alam mo na kung ano yung isusulat mo. So, ito yung step number 3. Alam mo na kung paano magsusulat ng letters kasi nagpag-aralan mo na. Pangalawa, na-practice mo na kung paano siya i-execute. So ngayon, less automatic na lang siyang ginagawa. Diba? Nagsusulat ka kahit hindi mo nakikita yung papel. Nagsusulat ka kahit hindi mo chine-check kung tama yung letters mo. 'Di ba? Karaniwan to sa atin, kahit na sa akin, 'di ba? Magulo yung sulat, basta okay to, naiintindihan ko to. Sulat ko to, alam ko to. 'Di ba? Hindi ka na hindi ka na conscious kung paano ka magsulat, 'di ba? Hindi ka na conscious kung ano yung magiging itsura ng letter mo kasi alam mo na. Alam mo na na ito si A, alam mo na ito si B, alam mo na kung paano isulat. Ang focus mo na lang is the subject matter to be written. 'Di ba? Usually, ang ginagawa pa natin dito, binabasa natin ng mahaba yung isang sentence, aalalahanin natin, saka natin isusulat ng dire-diretso. So that is the step number 3. From step number 1, drawing, step number 2, you are actually writing, and step number 3, bihasa ka na. Okay, next, the physiological basis of handwriting. So, since the impulse or yung desire or yung driving force ng isang tao to form or to write a letter begins in the cortex o yung part ng brain natin, di ba? That is responsible or yung nagko-control sa vision, sa hearing, kung paano tayo mag-talk, maglakad, and so on. So it guides the muscle of the hand through the complex movement that makes the words into writing. So si cortex po ang responsible dyan. Since writing begins in the mind, sa utak natin, sa brain natin, the emotions and attitude influence how we write just as how it influence our walk and how we talk. So, in writing, the pen or the writing instrument na ginagamit natin para makapagsulat function as the extension of the hand. So, di ba si hand, kinocommand lang yan ng utak natin kung paano gumalaw. So, the writing instrument, which is the pen or pencil or kahit anumang medium, function as the extension of the hand para tayo makasulat. The medium that we use in order for us to write something on a piece of paper. So, yung fingers na nag-hold sa ating instrument, which is the pen or any other writing instrument, transmits the directive impulses na nagko-command kung paano ba magsusulat yung tao, di ba? And the variation in the muscular tension, kung paano gagalaw yung kamay niya, according to the nature of the writer's nervous organization na nangyayari during the act of writing. So, hence the writer has his own way of holding his hand as the way he hold the pen habang siya ay nagsusulat, di ba? Na kung saan through the function of through the functioning of his brain or his cortex, alam niya or meron siyang sariling way kung paano mag-exert ng pressure, 'di ba? Kung gaano gagalaw yung kanyang kamay, kung gaano kadiin yung kanyang sulat, or kung gaano siya kabilis magsulat, 'di ba? The same pen in different hands will produce entirely different stroke. Kasi may kanya-kanya tayong handwriting habit. Sabi nga natin kanina, kahit pa isang klase ng lapis yung ginamit mo, ginamit ng iba't ibang tao, iba yung magiging resulta niyan kasi iba-iba yung takbo o yung command ng utak ng iba't ibang tao kung paano tayo kikilos. Same as diba doon kung paano tayo, paano yung emotion tumakbo sa atin, kung paano yung attitude natin, diba? Sabi nga natin kanina, same lang yan ng writing. Iba-iba tayo at nai-impluwensyahan nun kung paano tayo magsulat. So again, the center area na tinatawag natin dito or the center motor area na tinatawag natin dito, which is the cortex, is responsible for the movement kapag tayo ay nagsusulat. At importante to sa atin, di ba? The importance of this center is that when it becomes disease, o nagkasakit tayo or nasira or may some portion of our cortex na for example, infected o kaya nasira o tinamaan, di ba? Mangyayari dyan is parang yun sa agrapya, wherein na wawala ng ability yung tao to write, di ba? But he could still grasp or kaya pa niyang hawakan yung writing instrument, but yung function ng kanyang utak, hindi niya kayang makapag-produce ng anumang kahit na anong letters, hindi niya kayang magsulat. So, ganun kahalaga yung ating cortex. So, yung ability niya or power niya to write is nawawala kahit na sabihin natin kaya niyang humawak ng lapis. So, isa yan sa mga sakit ng tao na kapag nagkaroon ng tama yung kanyang utak, isa yan sa naaapektuhan. So, ganun siya kahalaga. Diba? The way we talk, diba? Minsan ganun din. Yung sa mga dyslexia, nahirapang magsalita, nahirapang magbasa, nagpapag-rumble-rumble yung salita. Ganun siya kahalaga. Ganun yung function ng ating brain sa atin. The way we walk, naapektuhan din yon. So, the hand contains two groups of muscle na nagpa-function in the act of writing. So, again, kapag tayo ay nagsusulat, merong two group of muscles na responsible dyan. A group of extensor muscle, katulad nito, who pushes up the pen to form the upward strokes. Kapag ang sinusulat natin o yung way natin ng writing is pataas, si extensor muscle yung responsible dyan. Now, the flexor muscle naman, yun yung nagpupush sa pen to form the downward strokes. So, yan ay hindi pwedeng magkahiwalay, di ba? Kapag nagsusulat tayo, upward, downward, and then horizontal strokes yung nangyayari sa atin. At yan yung dalawang major two groups of muscle na responsible pag tayo is nagsusulat. And then, generally speaking, ngayon naman, we have four groups of muscles that are employed in writing na nag-ooperate sa joints ni fingers, ni wrist, di ba, ni wrist, and then the elbow up to the shoulder of a person. So, the delicate way in which the various muscle, sa kabuuan na yan, yung delicate way on how we execute the writing, di ba? The muscle used in the writing work together to produce the written form is known as the motor coordination. So, as a whole, ang tawag dyan sa way natin on how to execute, dun pa lang sa pagpaprocess sa brain, kung ano itsura ni letter na to, kung paano mo igagalaw si kamay, kung paano gumalaw si kamay, and then kung paano magsulat. Ang tawag po dun is the motor coordination. And that is the physiological basis of handwriting, kung paano tayo nakaka-execute ng handwriting natin, kung paano tayo makakapagsulat. Okay, next is the recognition of writing characteristic. So, pag-aaralan na natin ano ba yung iba't ibang writing characteristic na pwedeng ma-possess or pwedeng possess ng isang tao o ng isang writer. So, before one could make a comparison or the proper evaluation ng ating characteristic ng handwriting, he must know first how to observe this or observe or recognize yung tinatawag nga nating writing characteristics. At eto na po yun. Simulan natin kay form. One of the handwriting characteristic that is referring to the shape or design of the individual letter. So, in short, ano yung itsura ng specific letters na tinutukoy natin? But mere similarity, not sufficiently an indication of identity. Hindi ibig sabihin na magkamukha silang ng A, magkatulad lang ng author. Kasi sabi nga rin kanina, we have a class and common characteristic. Automatic yan, nasa Pilipinas tayo, ganyan yung itsura ni A, ganyan yung itsura ni B. And the basic differences in the form of letters are indication of two writings made by different writers. So, alam natin yung itsura ni form, but the basic differences kung paano natin sinulat yung formation ng letters na yun dun tayo magbabase kung ano yung changes or kung ano yung individual characteristics ng isang author. So, di ba, sabihin natin, alam natin na ito si A, ito si B. Automatic, magkakamukha yung A natin. But on how we write the formation of A, masasabi natin na meron tayong kanya-kanyang individualized execution way on how to execute the writing natin. For example, kung paano natin isulat si A, paano natin isusulat si B. Again, kahit sabihin natin that there is a form, shape, style, or design na given na sa atin, which is standard, we still have individual style on how to write each forms of letters. Diba? The individualized writings na tinatawag natin. So, usually, again, sabihin natin na eto si A, eto yung dinuro sa atin, or eto si A, eto si B, eto si C. Kung susundin natin yung nasa copybook form, 'di ba? Napaka-perfect naman yung pagkakagawa nun. 'Di ba? Hindi natin kaya 'yon. Kahit sabihin natin na gayahin natin sa mas mabagal na paraan, 'di ba? Lalabas at lalabas yung sarili nating letter formation. Usually, may iba at may iba yung itsura niya. karaniwan to make it simpler and easier to write, and then to acquire greater speed in writing. Di ba? Minsan gumagawa tayo ng shortcut kapag sinulat natin si A, kapag sinulat natin si B, and so on. But again, first, the formation of the letter, we have standard. Alam natin yung itsura niyan. But, naiiba at maiiba yung itsura niyan, maiiba at maiiba yung shape na yan kapag ipinasok na natin yung kanya-kanya nating manner or writing habit or ways natin on how to execute the individual letters na alam natin. For example, si ma'am. Ganito ako for example, ito yung, sabihin na lang natin na ito si perfect na A. Yan dapat yung itsura ni A. Pero ako, kung ako magsulat, pag ganito ako magsulat ng A, patagilid, or ganito ako magsulat ng A, malaki yung nasa ibabaw, and so on. Si B, sabihin natin ito yung perfect na B. Yan yung standard or nasa copybook form. Ganito ako magsulat ng B, ganito ako magsulat ng B. Sabihin natin na sa normal letter natin sa document, di ba, capitalize yung pinakakaunahang letter and then the rest, small letters. Not unless yan ay pangalan ng tao, ng lugar, and so on. Pero ako, kung yung letter formation ko, simula ng document ko, sa kauna-unahan ng letter or salita na nakasulat sa papel ko, hanggang sa dulo, lahat yan capital letters. Again, iba-iba tayong formation. Iba-iba tayong individual writings or individualized writing, iba-iba tayong way kung paano tayo magsulat. That is the form. So, okay, kahit sabihin natin, di ba, yung tinutukoy natin kanina na meron tayong standard form na sinusunod kung ano yung itsura ng letters, ano yung itsura ng numbers, we still have individual style or form of writing. Yung tinutukoy natin kanina, may kanya-kanya pa rin tayong paraan kung paano isulat yung letters na yon. At hindi natin exactly magagaya yon kasi lalabas at lalabas yung sarili nating handwriting characteristic on how we execute those letters para maging atin sarili yung handwriting na yon, di ba? We have a unique characteristic. First, individual style or forms of writing, we have script writing. Karamihan sa atin, ito, any disconnected style of writing in which each letter is written separately. Diba? Naka-written lang separately yung letters. Kumbaga, hindi siya cursive writing, which is kambet, diba? Kabet-kabet, cursive. The writing is flowing, running, and the letters are joined. Alam nyo naman kung paano yung kambet na letters. While block style, yung tinutukoy ko kanina on how we write or the writing of the alphabet is capitalized. Diba katulad yung binabanggit ko kanina na kung paano ako magsulat. Ganyan ako magsulat sa aking normal na handwriting. Lahat ng letters ko is capital letters. Again, ito po yung kanya-kanyang individual style. We have script writing, yung disconnected style, o yung natural lang na pagsusulat. Separate mong sinusulat yung letters. Cursive, di ba, magkakaduktong, magkakakabit. Block style, lahat is capitalized. Okay, next, the slope or the slant. Di ba? It is an inclination of the axis of letters relative to the baseline. Di ba? Each individual has different slopes in writing. Alam nyo naman yan, we have right na kung saan yung baling ng kanyang letters o yung pagsusulat is pa forward. We have left, we have right, pa forward, we have left, di ba? Pakaliwa yung baling, ibig sabihin backward, and then no slant at all, ibig sabihin diretso lang or upward lang or vertical lang yung kanyang way of or manner of writing. That is slope or slant. Next is the size. So, alam nyo naman yan. Size as writing characteristic is somewhat divergent under varying condition and may have but little significance when applied to only one example or to small quantity of writing like a signature unless divergence is very pronounced. With regards to size, automatic yan. May malaki, may medium, may small, and then may napakaliit magsulat. So, i-name nyo na lang dyan kung alam yung inyo dyan. But, sabi sa size, it is somewhat divergent or nagbabago yan or it varies depende dun sa condition kung paano ka nagsulat. Diba? It varies beyond on the condition kung paano nagsulat si writer. Kasi, kahit sabihin mo na medium yung sulat mo, merong situation na kailangan mong lakihan yung sulat mo. Merong pagkakataon na kailangan mong maliit yung sulat mo. So, hindi siya ganoong kabasihan or sabi nga dyan, little significance when applied to only one example. So, para malaman mo kung large ba talaga siya magsulat, dapat mas marami kang patunay na yung handwriting niya, marami kang example ng handwriting niya na puro large yung kanyang sulat. Same as the with medium, small, para masabi mo na ganun talaga yung kanyang size ng writing. Kasi nagbabago at nagbabago yan. Depende kung ano yung kondisyon ng sinulat mo yan. Again, para mapatunayan mo na ganun talaga kalaki yung sulat niya o ganun talaga kaliit, dapat mas marami ka ding example na nagpapatunay or nagbibigay na patunay, na small yung letter niya or small yung kanyang writing and so on. That is for the size. Next, the ratio. For the purpose of comparison, letters of the alphabet are divided into two groups, namely, letters entirely written between the lines are referred to as to have a short ratio. A, C, E, M, N, O, R, S, B, W, X, Z. So, yung letters natin na written between the lines. So, ibig sabihin yung mga maliliit nating letters na hindi lalagpas dun sa gitnang guhit natin. Alam naman natin yan nung tayo ay bata pa. Yung tinuturo sa atin na wag lalagpas dito yung letter I, yung letter E, letter A. Yun po yung tinatawag natin na mga low ratio na letters. While the letters with upper or lower loops or other projected portion will be classed as tall. Ito yung short, O ay yung hindi lalagpas sa line in between, while the tall letters o yung letters na may high ratio or tall is yung B, H, J, L, P na lumalagpas dun sa gitnang linya. So, yan po yung ratio natin. Again kung saan may kinalaman on how high or how low the letters is. So, the relation between the tall and short letters is referred to as a ratio of the writing. The relation kung gaano siya kataas and gaano siya kaikli na letters. And then, in ordinary copybook form, the length of the upper and lower loops, diba, ng letter is twice as the length of the short letter. So, yung length ng upper and lower loop ng isang letter. So, ang upper and lower loop ng isang tall letter is twice the length of this short letter. So, ibig sabihin, kalahati dapat ni tall letter si short letter. So, automatic yan. Kung meron dyang sulat, dun ka sa gitna niya kasi yun yung kalahati niya. At yung sa copybook form o yung standard form natin on how we write properly the letters, hindi dapat lalagpas dyan. Katulad nito. Masyado nang mataas. So, yung ratio ng kanyang small letters, halos kapantay na din ng mga tall letters. So, isa yan sa pinag-aaralan natin kung paano ba magsulat yung tao. Kasing katangkad na ba niya yung small letters o pati yung tall letters niya, halos kapantay na din ng mga small letters niya. Kasi nangyayari din po yan. The ratio of the letters. So, try nyo tingnan yung sa inyong mga sulat. Na dapat, di ba, again, yung standard natin o yung sinusunod natin sa copybook form na yung tall letters, yung mga small letters, kalahati lang dapat niya. Ito yung proper. Kalahating sukat ni tall letters. Pero try nyo na tingnan yung way nyo kung paano kayo magsulat. Kung pati ba yung small letters nyo ay sumasagad pataas. O nagiging kasing taas na rin ng tall letters nyo o lagpas dun sa imaginary line natin sa gitna niya para masabi natin na nakalahati siya ng tall letters. Next is the connecting strokes. This refers to the strokes of the links that connects a letter with one of the following. We have elliptical, iba, we have circular, we have angular. So, in signature, it is a common practice among many writers, diba, na continuous yung flow ng kanyang pagsusulat, diba? Karaniwan naman sa signature natin, cursive style. Continuous yung flow or yung cursive style nga yung tinatawag natin yung ginagamit nila. Kaya may tinatawag tayong connecting strokes na nagko-connect with each letters kapag cursive yung ating way or manner of writing. We have elliptical again kapag pa-oblong, di ba, yung kanyang connecting stroke tulad nito. Yung connecting stroke niya pa-oblong yung na-form ay oblong T, oblong yung connecting, yung nagko-connecta sa kanya. While si circular, di ba, rounded yung connecting stroke niya. Medyo mas malawak. Kaya elliptical, di ba? Kaya elliptical, oblong, ito mas for example, ito, mas pabilog yung connecting strokes niya. Mas pabilog. While si angular, when we say angular, di ba, meron tayong na-form na angle or may edge or sharp na angle, edges na na-form. Patusok, kumbaga. Katulad nito, ang connecting stroke niya, ito si M, dinuktong kay U, patusok, pa-angle or pa-edge. Merong sharp edge na nagko-connecta sa dalawang letters. Again, kay elliptical, pa-oblong yung kanyang connecting stroke, pa-oblong, while kay circular, pa-round or merong circular motion na nagko-connecta sa dalawang letters. So, try to figure out kung anong klaseng connecting strokes yung meron kayo kapag kayo is nagsusulat through cursive style o kahit yung signature nyo na lang kung paano kayo pumirma. Ano yung kind of connecting strokes na meron kayo. Next, the terminal and initial strokes. When a letter, word, or name, or to be specific, yung signature natin, is completed in a free, natural writing, the pen is usually raised from the paper while in motion with a flying finish, di ba? Karaniwan pag pumipirma tayo, patalasik na yung huli natin, and with many writers. So, ganun nga tayo karamihan sa atin. Pumirma ka, so you have the flying finish. So, patalisik or palipad na, di ba, yung dulo mo. And the motion of the pen also slightly precedes the putting of the pen on the paper at the beginning with a flying start. Same as with the start. Ganito rin ako magpirma. Nung pandalas ka na sa simula, and then sa ending, flying finish pa yung ginawa mo. So that the stroke at the beginning and the end of words gradually diminish or taper to a vanishing point. Kaya naman yung nagiging itsura usually ng signature natin, di ba, parang malabo, patingkad, and then palabo ulit kasi nagmamadali tayo o yung meron tayong tinatawag na flying start sa ating pagmirma and flying finish. Pero hindi naman lahat is ganito pumirma. Merong pumirma, firm yung kanyang paghawak sa pen, nabigat lang yung hawak niya, and then hanggang sa dulo ng kanyang sulat is hindi pa fly yung kanyang tapos ng signature. Depende na lang yan. So, meron din sa simula, firm lang, walang flying start, and then sa kanya lalagyan sa dulo ng flying finish. Meron naman sa simula, may flying start, sa dulo, walang flying finish. So, depende na nga lang yan sa kada tao kung paano sila magsulat or paano sila pumirma. So, now, ang tinutukoy lang natin dito, ano ba yung terminal and initial stroke? Diba? Ang initial stroke natin is the first element ng ating stroke o ng ating sulat. So, automatic, ito yung initial. Ito yung pinakakauna-unahang sulat mo. Dito nag-start yung stroke mo. Dito nag-start yung pagsusulat mo. That is the initial stroke. While the terminal stroke is the last element of the letter. Okay, try nyo na lang i-figure out kung anong klaseng terminal and initial strokes yung meron kayo. So, next, pen lift. An interruption in stroke caused by removing the pen from the paper or disconnections between the letters and letter combination or maybe due to lack of movement. So, ito yung pagkakataon na kapag tinataas mo si ballpen kay paper, automatic yan, mag-i-stop or merong disconnection between the letters. Diba? Ito naman ay natural na nangyayari kapag ikaw ay nagsusulat, especially kung nagsusulat ka ng maraming words. Hindi naman pwedeng duktong-duktong yan. Diba? Lalo na kung ikaw ay, ang style mo or yung form of writing mo is script. Diba disconnected letters yung meron ka? Hindi naman kabit-kabit. Pag kabit-kabit yan, automatic, yung connecting stroke mo, dire-diretso lang. Mag-i-stop ka lang, magkakaroon lang ng pen lift kapag mag-jump ka na onto another word. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng magkakaduktong yan. So, automatic, naturally nangyayari itong pen lift. But, kadalasan din, di ba, ito is makikita mo or indication yung pen lift ng slow writing. Wherein indication to of writing of other person. For example, ito, ginagaya mo yung handwriting ng ibang tao. And then, dahil ikaw ay carefully, di ba, nagsusulat, ginagaya mo, hindi mo mapigilang tumigil para siguraduhin na tama yung susunod mong gagawin. Nangyayari yung pen lift na yon at isa to sa tinitingnan din natin as an indication nga na merong ibang gumaya or nagsulat nung document na pinag-aaralan mo o yung sulat or yung signature na pinag-aaralan mo. Next is the lateral spacing, which is considered as a common characteristic when it conforms to the ordinary copybook form. So alam nyo naman kung ano yung spacing na tinutukoy natin, spacing between words and then sa spacing between letters. So abnormally, di ba, wide spacing or the cramping of letters may be regarded as personal characteristic of some value. Di ba? Minsan yung lateral spacing ng isang handwriting ng isang tao, pwede natin yung magamit as the characteristic or personal characteristic ng isang tao. Merong mga tao na masyadong dikit-dikit magsulat, yung dalawang words halos magkadikit na, and then may mga tao din na halos malaking spacing na yung meron sila between letters and between words. So, minsan, mas madalas pang nare-retain nila yung lateral spacing kung paano yung manner nila magsulat with regards to the spacing of each words and letters kesa dun sa sizes. Diba? Yung sizes kasi tulad ng sinasabi ko kanina, pwede mo yung mapalitan, pwede mo mapalaki, pwede mo mapaliit, depende na lang kung ano yung kondisyon na nagsusulat ka nun. Hindi siya ganun ka-accurate na basihan para masabi mo na handwriting ng isang tao. Pero kadalasan, mas nagre-retain tong characteristic na to kahit sa anong kondisyon na magsulat yung tao. That is the lateral spacing. Kaya naman, pwede itong isang maging basihan para malaman natin so long as marami kang copy ng example ng handwriting ng tao para mapatunayan natin kung handwriting niya ba to o hindi. Next is shading. It is the widening of ink strokes with increased pressure on the paper. Alam naman natin kung paano tayo nagsishade. Kasi merong mga writers or mga authors na ginagawa to. Kinakapalan nila yung letter A, kinakapalan nila yung bilog ng ganito, kinakapalan nila yung bilog ng I, diba? And so on. The shading process, nangyayari yan sa mga iba't ibang writers natin or ginagawa nila yan. And then, kapag ang gumagaya ng signature mo o ng letters mo is unfamiliar with the manner and manipulation of the pen, diba, by the another person, kung paano magsulat yung tao, mahirap gayahin yung shading process o yung shading na characteristic nito. Diba, it is difficult to imitate kung paano yung shading ng isang individual na tao. And as to the exact location, kung saan mo ilalagay yung shading, meron niyang individual characteristic yung tao. Sabi ko nga, usually, for example, karaniwan sa shading, nilalagay niya dito. Anong malay ba nung gumagaya sa sulat mo na dito ka nagsishade or and so on, di ba? And then kadalasan din yung shading na to, ito is resulta nung pagre-retouch nung tao minsan dun sa kanyang letters. So hindi natin alam kung ito ba is natural shading niya or a product of retouching or patching nung tao o nung author doon. So paano natin malalaman or to be specific, paano malalaman or paano magagamay nung gustong gumaya ng sulat mo kung hindi niya alam kung paano ka mag-execute at paano mo gamitin yung shading as an individual characteristic nung original writer and then the original writing na ginagaya mo sa ibang writer. So, isa sa mahirap tong gayahin. At karaniwan, so try to figure out again kung kayo is mahilig mag-shade ng letters. So, parang naalala ko, may ilan sa inyo na kinakapalan talaga yung pagsusulat ng letters. Sinishade pa niya, para mas kumapal yung strokes ng letters. Next, the line quality refers to visible record in the written stroke of the basic movement and manner of holding the writing instrument. So, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is the actual record or output, yung itsura mismo nung stroke mo, kung paano mo sinulat si A, paano mo sinulat si G, si C, si K, ano yung itsura? Smooth ba? Parang shaky ba or nervous kaya medyo alon-alon yung sulat mo, 'di ba? Kulubot-kulubot, 'di ba? Or kaya naman pang juvenile style or deliberate style na dahan-dahan mong sinusulat kasi may ginagaya ka tulad ng bata. So, yung line quality again refers to the visible record. Ano yung itsura? And it is derived from a combination of factors, 'di ba? Kung gaano kagaling magsulat, kung gaano kakabilis magsulat, kung may rhythm ba yung pagsusulat mo, or the overall character kung paano ka magsulat, o kung ano yung writing strokes na meron ka. From the letters, from initial to terminal strokes, ano yung line quality mo? Magaling ka bang magsulat, o nahihirapan kang magsulat, o pangit kang magsulat? Parang ganun yun in short. So, alin kayo dyan? Next is the alignment or the baseline. Try to imagine, di ba, karaniwan naman ang ginagamit nyo kasi ngayon is bond paper. So, ibig sabihin, wala kayong line pattern na sinusunod para maging straight yung sulat nyo. Pero isa po to sa characteristic para malaman kung meron kang individualized alignment pattern, di ba, katulad nito, merong pataas, merong pababa, and then merong paalon, and then normally straight lang. So again, alignment is the relation of the parts of the whole line of writing or line of individual letters in words or signature to the baseline. Kung paano ka magsulat, kung gaano ka diretso, based dun sa baseline, o kung pataas ba, palipad na ba kung saan, or pababa ba yung sulat mo, and then paalon. That is the alignment. Diba? The relation ng letters as a whole dun sa baseline natin, kung gaano ka straight yung iyong pagsusulat. That is the alignment. Again, try to figure out kung anong klaseng alignment ang meron kayo. Next is the rhythm. It is the balanced quality of movements of the harmonious recurrence of stress or impulse. It is the flowing succession of the motion that is recorded in a written record. So, kung ano ba yung daloy ng movement ng katawan mo, kung paano ka magsulat. At syempre, magre-resulta yan kung ano yung itsura ng line quality mo. Yung balikan natin kanina, ano yung itsura? Medyo ba shaky yung pagsulat mo, o smooth lang yung flow kung paano ka magsulat? O average lang? That is the rhythm. Alam nyo naman, same as with sa music, di ba? Ano yung rhythm mo? Medyo smooth lang ba yung flow, o medyo rock, kaya mukhang sabog-sabog yung sulat mo, and so on. That is the rhythm. Next is the pen pressure. So it is the average force in which the pen make contact with the paper, or the usual force involving in writing. So, madali lang naman to, the pressure na ina-exert mo habang ikaw ay nagsusulat, 'di ba? Heavy pressure, sobrang diin ng sulat mo. Moderate pressure, sakto lang, swak lang. Light pressure, napakagaan, kaya minsan hindi ganun kita yung sulat mo kasi napakagaan ng sulat mo. Minsan, kung yan man ay lapis, di ba, madaling mabura. Kung yan man ay ballpen and then heavy pressure, halos mabutas na yung papel mo. Di ba? Ito is one of the most personal but hidden character in writing. Isa to sa pinaka-importante na the individual characteristic, pero minsan hidden to na characteristic ng writing kasi depende rin sa kondisyon kung lalabas tong handwriting characteristic mo na to. Minsan pinipilit mo na wag diinan kasi kailangan mong maganda yung maging resulta ng sulat mo. Kailangan mo ipasa kay ma'am. Pangit pag diniinan ko masyado, pero Kadalasan nga, lalabas at lalabas talaga yan, lalo na kapag ikaw ay unconsciously nagsusulat. Pero kung ikaw ay conscious sa pagsusulat, gusto mong maganda yung sulat mo, syempre di ba moderate pressure lang yung dapat mong i-apply. So again, depende yan sa tao. Pwede mong makontrol, pwede mong maitago, pero lalabas at lalabas yan, lalo na kung unconsciously ka nagsusulat. Next, tremor means deviation from uniform strokes due to lack of smoothness, perfectly apparent even without magnification. So, tremor meaning there is a shaking movement or kahit man ito ay sadya or involuntary, ibig sabihin, katulad nito, nanginginig ang kamay mo, kaya naman yung itsura din ng sulat mo is halata na mayroong something na shaky na nangyari. So, ito yung ibang example ng tremor. I mean, the causes of tremor rather. Lack of skill on the part of the writer. Sige, di ba manonotice nyo naman yan, kapag yung tao nagsusulat, hindi talaga marunong magsulat. Tinatry niya magsulat, kinaalala nyo yung letter, so dahil dun sa pagiging conscious niya, kung paano i-execute yung writing niya, especially hindi niya gano'n napapractice magsulat, di ba, nagkakaroon ng tremor o yung nagiging itsura, parang ganyan. Di ba? Self-consciousness of the writing process, yung tinutukoy ko kanina, nalalabas at lalabas yan kapag masyado kang conscious kung paano ka magsulat. Hesitation resulting from copying or imitation. Si tremor, one good indication na ikaw ay kinokopya mo or ini-imitate mo yung isang bagay, lalo na kung sama-sama mo gagawin or gagamitin. Dahil ikaw ay magdadalawang isip, matatakot, kakabahan, and so on. Kaya naman magiging ganyan yung resulta. Next, uncontrollable nervousness of the writer. Nagsulat ka na yung kung saan ang condition mo is sobra kang kinakabahan or natatakot. So, for example, pinagsusulat ka ng taong kumidnap sa'yo. Di ba? Automatic yan, matatakot ka at matatakot. Minsan nakatutok pa yung baril sa'yo. Hindi mo mapapractice yung maayos na writing movement or habits mo kasi natatakot ka, and that is a tremor. Merong shaking movement sa'yo habang nagsusulat ka. And then illiterate writing due to clumsiness, partly due to lack of clear mental impression of the form being made. No? Being illiterate, di ba? The clumsiness or lack of clear mental impression dun sa itsura na gusto mong isulat. Lalo na kung hindi ka naman talaga familiar, di ba? Paano mo siya isusulat? Paano mo siya gagawin? Paano mo siya i-execute? And then, we have two types of tremor based dito sa dalawang causes nito. So, genuine tremor, wherein ang reason is dahil nga matanda na, try to observe kung paano magsulat yung mga nanay natin, yung mga lola natin, nanginginig na yung kamay. O being illiterate, that is one kind of genuine tremor na talagang hindi nila kaya magsulat. Kaya meron shaking movement, hindi nila alam kung paano magsulat at all. Kaya sila nangungunti or nangingiming gawin yung letters kasi hindi nila alam kung tama ba o hindi. And then lastly, because of weakness. Diba? Try to imagine, diba, kung makakakita kayo sa mga FB, yung nagsulat sila, diba? Habang nasa ospital, hindi sila makapagsalita kaya sumusulat na lang sila. And hindi ganun kaganda yung kaganda yung sulat nila o yung ayos ng sulat nila kasi nangihina sila. Di ba nga sabi natin kanina, yung impulse mo to write is nanggagaling sa brain mo. And kung may problema, kung paano mag-process yung utak mo, makaka-apekto yun kung paano ka magsulat. And that is one kind of genuine tremor through weakness. Nangihina yung katawan mo. And then tremor of fraud, di ba? Resulta ng pandadaya, resulta ng panggagaya, and so on. Fraudulent writing, which is drawn even though quite perfect in general form, shows little, if any, freedom and will often show less hesitation at places where tremor is wrongly placed. Kung saan tremor, that is a product of yung nanggagaya ka or nandadaya ka, nag-imitate ka ng sulat ng iba, ng signature ng iba without their knowledge. Ginamit mo sa pandadaya, ginamit mo sa pangloloko, and so on, di ba? A fraudulent writing which is drawn even though quite perfect in general form shows, di ba? Automatic naman to. Kung ikaw ay nanggagaya, kung ikaw ay nandadaya, ang aim mo, magaya siya or ma-perfect siya kung ano yung itsura ng ginagaya niya. Little, if any, freedom and will often show less hesitation at places where tremor is wrongly placed. Na nangyayari, lalabas at lalamas yung tremors mo dahil nag-iingat ka nga. Diba? Yung sinabi natin kanina na, na sa sobrang pag-iingat mo, diba, hindi mo maiwasan na ikaw is nagsha-shake na yung hand mo at the same time dahil sa sobrang kabado mo sa ginagawa mong yun, hindi mo maiiwasan na magkaroon yung tremor. Magkaroon ng tremor sa writing mo, sa panggagaya mo ng signature or ng handwriting ng isang tao. That is the genuine tremor na meron dahil sa matanda na or sobrang bata, di ba? Hindi pa marunong. At the age of 5, tinuturuan, hindi kaya, illiterate, hindi maalam. Weakness ng hihina, tremor of fraud, resulta ng panggagaya, automatic yan, lalabas at lalabas yan. Kung hindi mo naman tunay na sulat, lalabas at magkakaroon ng tremors on how you write or execute the writing sa pamamagitan ng panggagaya ng ibang sulat. Next, other different individual characteristic. So, basic na lang to. Ano pa yung ibang individual characteristic? Body, the main portion of the letter which remain when the upper and lower projection upstrokes and terminal strokes and diacritics are removed. Yung pinaka-main portion or body ng letters mo. Kung sa Q yan, ang pinaka-main body mo is yung malaking bilog. And then sa small letter Q, yung pinaka-main body mo is etong bilog sa taas. So that is the body. Next, diacritics, elements added to complete a letter. Diba? For example, sa T, we have T crossing and dots on letter I and J. Diacritics, yung elements na ina-add mo para ma-complete yung isang letter. I, diba may tuldok tayo, that is diacritics. T, sa gitna ng letter, T crossing sa gitna ng T, and then yung tuldok mo din sa I and J. So that is diacritics. And some of writers, hindi naglalagay ng tuldok, hindi naglalagay, or yung way nila kung paano maglagay ng T crossing, paangat, pababa, di ba? And then minsan, sa halip na patuldok, ginagawa nilang heart and so on. And one good indication yan or one good point para makita natin kung individual characteristic ba yun ng isang tao. Next, eyelet. Ito ay karaniwan, lalabas yan sa mga cursive style natin ng writing. A minute or small loop or curve formed in the letter inside the oval of the letters. Yung eyelet, yung maliit na bilog inside the oval of the letters. So, ito si eyelet. Nasa loob ng letters, we have small circle or oval na na-form. That is eyelet. So, try to figure out sa signature nyo, pag sinulat nyo ba si O, may eyelet ba kayo? Si B, may eyelet ba kayo? Or some other letters, for example, R, yung R nyo ba may eyelet sa taas? Diba? And so on. That is eyelet. Hiatus or penjab. A failure to complete a junction or connecting stroke without lifting the pen. Without lifting the pen. Ang kaibahan lang naman dito sa pen lift, yung pen lift, tinataas mo yung papel. Kaya nagkakaroon ng disconnection ng letters, nagkakaroon ng patlang between the letters, between the words. Ito namang hiatus or pen jump, ito naman is yung pen na mismo, yung may problema, or kaya naman sa sobrang bilis mo magsulat, di ba? There is a failure para mag-connecta yung isang stroke. Depende na lang yon. Yung pen yung mismo nag-stop, yung ink, kaya naman naputol yung sulat, katulad nito. Pagsulat kay J, nag-stop yung ink, kaya naman nag-jump agad siya dito. O kaya naman sa sobrang bilis mo magsulat, talagang tumalbog or na hindi mo nasulatan ng ayos to, and that is hiatus. At iba po yun sa pen lift na kung saan literal, inaangat mo yung ballpen mo sa papel. Kaya nagkaroon ng pen lift or nag-disconnect yung letters mo o yung words mo sa isa't isa. Okay, next, foot, the lower part which rests on the waistline So, the small letters M has 3 feet. Sa N, di ba, meron tayong 2. And sa H, meron tayong 2. So, ang foot na tinutukoy natin, yung pinaka lower part ng letters na tumatama sa baseline. Imagine, ito yung pinaka baseline natin. Yan yung sinusunod nating linya para magdiretso yung ating letters, yung ating words o yung ating writing. So, yung tumatama sa kanyang baseline, yun yung pinaka-foot natin. Hook, a minute curve or angle which often occurs at the initial and terminal stroke. Alam niyo naman na itsura ng hook, meron tayong minute curve, diba? Na extra sa bukana or pwedeng sa dulo ng letters. That is the hook. So, try to figure out kung meron ba kayong mga hook sa inyong letters as a indication na meron kayong individual characteristic tulad nito. Oval, di ba? The portion of a letter which is oval in shape. And usually, di ba, alam naman natin na yung small letter A, D, G, Q, yan yung may mga oval na portion sa letter. Di ba? The portion of the letter which forms an oval shape. At ito yung oval natin. Okay, next, the retrace, any part of a stroke which is superimposed upon the original stroke. Any strike which goes back over the same writing stroke. Ibig sabihin, nagkaroon ng retracing. Diba? Nag-strike again yung stroke mo on the stroke na nagawa mo na ng una. Like the T. Gumawa ka, ito yung pinaka-initial stroke mo. Na-retrace back mo para mabuo mo si T. Si L. Diba? Na-retrace back mo yung portion na to para magawa mo si L. And then si F. Bumalik ka ulit, na-retrace back mo para magawa mo yung formation na F. Si D. Diba? Nagkaroon ng retracing, bumalik ka para maisulat si D ng buo. That is retracing. So, nangyayari yan again, karaniwan kapag cursive yung style ng letters mo, ng writings mo. Next, the shoulder or hump. Outside portion of the top curve or the garland form of the letters as small letters M has 3 shoulders, diba? 1, 2, 3. The small letter N, diba? And H has 1 shoulder. And usually kapag N, diba, has 2. Kapag naman yung iba, 1 shoulder lang yan. So depende nga yan kada tao kung ano yung kanyang individual characteristic. Minsan, yung M natin, 2 lang na ganon, pero usually 4 na ganon kapag M. And then kapag yung iba, yung N nila kapag cursive, 2 ganon, pero usually karamihan din katulad ko, 1 ganon lang yung meron, 1 shoulder lang yung meron. So, try to figure out kung anong klaseng shoulder karaniwan yung ginagawa nyo, lalo na kapag M and N yung ginagamit nyong letters. Next is the spur. Short horizontal terminal strokes mostly found on a small letter, short initial or terminal stroke. Yung spur na tinatawag natin is yung additional na stroke or horizontal stroke. Ito, may additional ka. Iba pa yan sa hook. Ito kasi is horizontal. When we say hook, merong curve kang dinagdag. Ito naman, horizontal stroke na dinagdag. Meron kang extra na stroke. Tulad nun. Ang tawag po nun is spur. Ayan, spur. Hindi naman siya exactly dapat horizontal na diretsyong ganon. Basta, meron kang extra na stroke in initial or it's either terminal stroke sa simula or sa dulo ng letters. The arc or the garland, a curve formed inside the top of curve or loop. Diba? Example, ito. Yan yung garland or yung arc. Yung na-form na arc or na curve inside the letter or the loop na na-create mo. Si H, ayan yung kanyang curve sa loob. Ayan yung kanyang garland or arc sa loob. Next, the bird or the embellishment. Yung mga pampalamuti na lang natin, yung pampaganda or additional na decoration sa ating letters. Preliminary embellished initial stroke which usually occurs in capital letters. Katulad yan, additional strokes na lang yan para mapaganda natin yung mga letters natin, embellishment na tinatawag. Decoration na lang yan sa letters natin. And then usually, yan is an individual writing characteristic kasi hindi naman lahat kasi gumagamit niyan or gumagawa niyan at kanya-kanya pa yung klase ng embellishment or pampaganda. At tulad nga na sabi ko kanina, meron pa diyang gumagamit ng heart shape para lang mapaganda and so on, di ba? Okay, next, buckle or buckle nut. A loop made as a flourish which is added to the letters as in small letters K, F, or I, capital letters A, K, and H. So, wag kayong mag-stick dun sa mga sample letters natin. Kasi sabi nga natin, individual styles tayo, characteristic. Pwede yung buckle nut, sa K ko, wala akong buckle nut dyan. At yung buckle nut na hindi kasama dito sa sample na to, lumabas dun sa ibang letters ko. Depende na lang talaga yan sa mga writers natin. So, again, balik tayo kay buckle nut. Yung loop made as a flourish which is added to the letters as in small letters nga natin or big letters natin tulad nito. So, sorry. Try to imagine na lang kasi wala akong nakitang sample niya. This is the capital letter K. Ito yung kanyang eyelet, di ba? Na-discuss natin si eyelet, yung curve na na-produce natin. The loop or the small loop curve na na-produce natin inside the letter. But yung buckle nut kasi na tinutukoy natin, kapag iyan ay, imagine si K, sinulat natin, lumagpas siya dito. And then yung lumagpas na portion dito, nung kanyang loop curve, yun yung buckle nut natin. For example, ito pa. Letter B, ito yung kanyang loop or curve as the eyelet. Pero kapag iyan is lumabas pa dito, ito na si eyelet, ito pa si buckle nut na lumabas or lumampas sa kanya. So, kailangan din tayo maging specific sa bagay na yan na tingnan natin kung meron bang ganyan sa mga handwriting characteristic natin at sa ibang writers kapag tayo ay nag-e-examine ng kanilang handwriting. For example, ito, A. Diba dapat ganyan lang naman siya dito? Pag lumagpas na yan, katulad niyan, this is the buckle nut. Sobrang laki lang niya. Yan po yung buckle nut na tinutukoy natin. Last is the patching or the retouching. The going back over a defective portion of the writing stroke. Then the careful patching or retouching is a common defect of forgeries. So ito yung is one of the common indication of forgeries na binabalikan mo yung letters or yung portion ng writing mo na kung saan medyo mali ka doon. So inaayos mo ng konti. So nagkakaroon ng patching. Katulad na nabanggit ko kanina sa shading. Diba? The shading is one form of patching and retouching na binabalikan mo ngayon. Sa halip na shading or natural shading yung nangyayari, patching yung nangyayari. Hindi ka talaga nagsha-shade, inaayos mo lang yung mali mo kasi mali yung pagkakasulat mo. And that is the patching or retouching. Or kung ikaw naman is yung totoong writer, common din naman to na nangyayari na inaayos mo yung sulat mo lalo na kapag may bumatlang, aayusin mo. Pero again, lalo na kung exactly talaga kamukhang-kamukha yung signature mo, sobrang gayang-gaya, tapos merong gantong klase ng characteristic na merong retouching na nangyari or patching, one good indication yan na merong forgery na nangyari or ginaya yan through careful patching or retouching nung ginayang signature mo para ma-attain niya yung perfect na copy tulad nung signature mo. At yan po lahat at marami pa dyan na iba pa na pwede nyo ma-search online. But ito po yung mga basic natin na pinagbabasehan na handwriting characteristic na meron tayo lahat at iba't ibang characteristic ang meron tayo.